Good morning, hello, good afternoon, good evening for some of you. It is today, it is live day, so every Mondays we're going live. And I am Kirsten Carey, and I am here to talk to you about how the best ways to feel your best, to heal, to maximize your efforts without burning out. So let's talk today specifically about 3 quick ways to unlock the feel-good neurochemicals in your system. So there's 3 that we're going to focus on. There's a lot of other ones that we could really spend time on, but I want to give you 3 of the most effective, the ones that you can really kind of click into easily or more easily than the rest. So neurochemicals, essentially, the chemicals that get released into your system when you feel safe, when you feel good, when you feel empowered. So we're going to talk about how we unlock those, because some of them are stuck and you're not releasing them even though you're trying, because you have things that are in the way. So when you're releasing more of these feel-good neurochemicals, you're actually feeling more stable, more balanced. Your body's physically able to do more within the systems. So you have more of a balanced hormone production system. You'll have a more balanced thyroid. You'll actually have better skin, better hair. You'll wake up more refreshed. You'll sleep more effectively. You won't have pain within the joints and within your body as a whole. You won't have the jizz that the body's typically giving you when it's saying, I'm in trouble and I'm not feeling balanced. You'll digest more effectively. You'll be able to get more done with less effort. So if you're looking for that, let's talk about the 3 quick ways to unlock feel-good neurochemicals. The number 1 way to do this is to spend time with other people with whom you feel seen, heard, and challenged. So let's just even break that down. So a lot of times we're spending time with people, but we either feel alone within that group, or we don't feel that we're being seen and heard, and we don't feel we're being challenged to be our best versions of ourselves. We're feeling beat down. We're feeling old traumas. We're feeling old childhood challenges. We're spending time with people that make us feel at our best. So therefore, these neurochemicals that only get released when you feel safe and challenged and seen and heard, they only get released when you're in that type of environment. They will not release. There's a certain round of them that won't even release, or you're feeling lonely, which is different. When you're completely by yourself, you can feel healthy and great. That's fine. But there's still some neurochemicals that only get released when you're with a group. Then there's when you feel lonely. This is when you don't feel seen and heard. You feel completely alone within a group. That's actually incredibly fearful for the body. And then when you feel isolated, or when you're isolating yourself, there's a set of neurochemicals that don't release. So we saw a dramatic uptick in our client success when we started adding regular online group meetings and in-person retreats into the program. Because there's a connection within the women within our program who feel more seen, they feel more heard, they feel more connected. They feel more challenged to be their best versions of themselves. They don't feel put down. They don't feel judged. They don't feel they're in the wrong place. So there's this vibration that essentially starts within the group, and then other people within the group feel that same vibration, and they all start to heal in a more effective way. So as other women within our program see other women like them, or women succeeding in their health goals, they begin to heal more effectively too. And these women don't come from the same backgrounds. They don't necessarily, they're not necessarily all the same age. They're not necessarily having all the same challenges, but they're all there to find a version of themselves and to heal more naturally. So there is this same vibration that's running through everybody, that they want to see a better version and they want to feel more empowered to do that. So they aren't coming from a place of fear. They're not coming from a place of victimization, right? Which changes the vibration among them. So you start to see women hitting their peaks higher, more effectively, more easily, because they are together with women who have like-minded goals, right? Healing more naturally, more effectively, not buying into the belief that they're never going to heal, not buying into the belief that they can only take a pill and just hope for the best. They're with women who know, as soon as they learn the tools and the techniques to do it, how to activate their body, and they know it's available to them. So the vibration gets stronger with women who feel more seen, more heard, and more holistically effectively challenged within the group than when they were just trying to heal on their own or in an individual session. So this idea that you're starting to look for a group to spend time with who are all actively looking to improve themselves in the most healthy way, that will help activate a whole set of neurochemicals that you might even be reaching right now. So that's number one. Number two, you need to get more into your flow state. Now, your flow state is actually being more and more recognized within medicine in general. But flow state is when you are connected to an activity that causes you to focus and feel more connected in the moment. So you'll see this with high performance athletes. When they're in the moment, they're in flow. They don't notice anything else around them. Time falls away and they're just in it. They're not thinking about the future and they're not worried and all the anxiety of what might happen. They're not thinking about the past and what's happened before. They are so in the flow of that moment. You'll see this with artists, athletes. People are just in their best state. So when you can activate the flow state, and there's a way to actually activate that flow state, you don't have to try and force it. But what it does is it drives more dopamine, which is that feel good chemical. Everything just feels a little bit more euphoric. That's dopamine within the system making you feel better. That dopamine is released when you get into this flow state. It also drives more norepinephrine. I don't know why I always struggle with that word. I think there's just way too many syllables in it. But when it drives norepinephrine, this is the neurotransmitter of the brain that plays an essential role in the regulation of arousal, attention, cognitive function, and stress reactions. So when you get into this flow state, it also drives more of that norepinephrine. Oh, wow. I'm just going to go with that. But it's those neurotransmitters of the brain that plays that essential role in all of the other things that help your body feel better, gives you more focused attention. So those of you who are falling into more of that ADD, ADHD, you feel like you're scattered, you feel like you have foggy brain, this will really help you to learn how to focus more effectively. It also lowers cognitive load, which pulls you out of anxiety, focus on the future, pulls you out of depression, which is typically the focus on the past, where we're no longer, and where we get more connected again to the now. We're focused on the future. We're not focused on the future or the past. So we have more ability to lower cognitive load. Cognitive load essentially is the amount of stress that you're taking on emotionally and mentally. Taking on all this emotional stress, think about it as an actual physical weight that is going on to your system. As you take on more load, it's harder to move. It's harder to flow. It's harder to be free. So when we can release that emotional mental stress, that cognitive load, we can flow more easily. We can be more free. We can feel more light in how we move through life. And we can handle stressors when they come to us. But if you're already dealing with stress on a regular basis, you just keep taking on more, the body gets weighed down and you aren't able to flow within what's going on. And when we work with our clients to get into flow state more frequently and easily, we use some very specific tools to unlock the subconscious mind and activate the theta waves in the brain that allows you to get into that flow state. So there's specific tools that we use, some somatic tools that we use. There's actually hypnotic rhythm techniques that we use. There's visualization techniques that we use. And when we use them with our clients to help them find the flow state, it helps them focus. It helps them drop the doggy brain. It helps them actually balance hormones, balance thyroid, digest more effectively, and release that overload of cognitive toxicity that's in their system. Wouldn't you love to just feel more free and activate more of what's going on in your system naturally without feeling like you have to force it? So if you think of the flow state, you're just moving along. It's like being in a river where you're just moving along with the current versus trying to swim against the current to get upstream. The difference is astronomically amazing. So think of the difference where you're just floating on a inner tube and you're just going downstream with the current. That flow is amazing, but you're actually moving. If you try to jump out of that or even paddle within that inner tube upstream against the current, chances are not likely that you're going to be able to do it. But even if you are, you're going to be exhausted. That's what a lot of people feel like every single day. They have this enormous burden that they're trying to flow against what is naturally inherent within their systems. Once you learn how to use the tools to get into this flow state, it's amazing how much more you can get done and how much less effort and less stress and less grind there is to your everyday. And what's interesting is a lot of times our clients get into this flow state and it feels like they're doing something wrong. And they come back and they say, this week was so easy. I kept thinking I was getting it wrong. So there's an underlying trauma right there that we have to break. But there's a lot of times when it's not hard enough, we get confused because we're so used to life being hard. Life is supposed to be that hard. It's supposed to be challenging. Huge difference. Challenge is good and it helps us heal. It helps us grow. It helps us continue to thrive. When everything feels hard, that beats you down, pushes you into burnout, and pushes you into more of a trauma state against the flow. So just think that one through a little bit. Would I like to be sitting on an inner tube floating down with the current, utilizing that energy for me? Or am I going to continue to try to swim upstream, work against myself, and just burn out? And then 3 is leveraging the proper nutrition. Now, of course, I'm sure you know, oh, if I eat right, that I'll feel better. But it's not just that. There are specific foods that release the stickiness of the blood. And that's what you'll hear a lot of holistic practitioners talking about, stickiness in the blood. If your blood isn't flowing, if your blood isn't moving through, it's not cleaning your system out. It's not helping your system move through. So there's a stickiness that slows down, believe it or not, the blood, because there's more toxic load within your system. When you balance your gut bacteria, you can also actually calm the mind when you're eating the right foods for you. And I'm going to be really, really specific about that. And when you have that flow of the blood, you have more balance in your gut, you feel more calm in the mind. It's amazing how much more you can get done because that cognitive load is lower. Now, these foods, a lot of the times, actually are different from person to person. So the specificity of how to eat, depending on where you are as a woman, where you are in your cycle, how old you are, whether you're premenopausal or postmenopausal, what's going on in your life, those foods will actually shift. How much you're moving, those foods will be different from person to person, but also from time in your life to time in your life, from week to week sometimes. And it doesn't have to be that difficult. Once you start to understand which foods and why, you're going to know how to flow within that. Typically, foods that are green, so I'm going to give you kind of an overview. Typically, foods that are green, especially leafy greens, are going to help support the body's ability to activate and release these feel-good neurochemicals, which makes everything feel better, more joyful, more easy. And then there's foods specifically that are going to stop and block these feel-good neurochemicals from releasing. So things that are fried, things that are overly processed, foods that have a lot of chemicals in them, grown organically. These are things that are going to start blocking the ability to release and absorb and feel the feel-good chemicals, neurochemicals. So we use very specific blood testing and other tests with our clients to zero in on the best food choices for them individually to maximize their success. But we also have general rules. I can tell you right now, and you can argue with me all day long if you really want to, but if you are eating foods that are high in gluten, foods that are dairy, so from a cow, from a goat, from a sheep, anything from an udder, you're actually working against your system and swimming a little bit more upstream, because there's more of a toxic load that occurs when we are eating these foods. Some people don't notice the difference when they're eating them right away because they don't have an instant reaction to them, but they cause more inflammation in the system, and they're causing more of a load in your body to have to manage. It could be taking that energy and helping you feel better. So let's review. 3 quick ways to unlock feel good neurochemicals. First, spend time with other people with whom you feel seen and heard and challenged to be your best version of yourself. 2, learn how to get into the flow state. This is when you feel connected to the now, you feel connected to the activity that you are participating in that causes you to feel more focused and more connected in this now moment. And it takes you away from hyper-focusing on the future and being in anxiety, or hyper-focusing on the past and feeling depressed. Number 3, leverage your nutrition personally. Understand what foods help to allow you to flow within the blood, release that stickiness in the blood, balance your gut bacteria, and calm your mind. This will help you overall for your body to leverage its inherent ability to be healthy, to feel safe, to feel balanced, to feel grounded, and to feel its best. So a lot of these techniques and a lot of these tools that we use with our clients, I'm going to be showing in person at our next event. We're doing the next event in person in Scottsdale. It's called Recharge. It's for women who, frankly, just don't have the luxury of burning out. You don't have the time. You don't have the energy to burn out because you don't have time to just shut your whole life down for weeks at a time to try to heal. So in Scottsdale, the October 25th and 26th, we are doing an in-person event. So this goes back to the first thing that I was telling you, when you were hanging out with more people who want to feel good, who want to feel more challenged, who want to be at their best, and you feel like you were being seen and heard, and you were in person with these people. It's amazing how much more active you can make the neurochemicals within your system. So we are doing this event in person because, especially since what happened with COVID and shutdowns, the number of people who are feeling anxiety and depression have skyrocketed. And a lot of it is because we are not doing events in person anymore. We are not connecting with people the way we used to. We are too highly focused on online communications with people. There is a piece that gets severed when we are not physically in the same room with people whom we feel connected with. So we're doing this event again in person in Scottsdale, October 20th and 26th. It is an immersive event. So you're going to get to actually experience a lot of the tools that we use with our clients to help them feel more effective, feel like they're flowing within their systems, and how to stop the blocks that are keeping you from feeling your best self, no matter how old you are. But as you continue to get into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, some of these challenges get harder because your body is breaking down in a way because you're compiling these challenges, not just because you're older, it's because you are compounding these pieces, and there's a point where the body just can't take it anymore. So as you're a woman, you're going into perimenopause, menopausal symptoms. The hormone shift sometimes is just the last straw. There's a way to come back from that. There's a way to prevent that. And we're going to be talking about that at the event. So 2 days. Give me 2 days, and I will help you learn and experience what it's like to recharge your system, feel fully nourished, to feel fully resourced, and to feel like your best self. 2 days. We're going to be feeding you lunch on both those days, 10 to 4. It's a Friday, Saturday in Scottsdale. There's a couple of tickets still available. It's a very small venue, so we're holding space for a very small number of people. So you can get as much learning in there as possible for these 2 days. So go to nourish123challenge.com. More details are on the site. If you are flying in, which several people are, you can fly into Phoenix Airport in Tempe. It's PHX if you're looking for it there. And we are 15 minutes tops from the airport where the location is. So I'd love to see you there. I'd love to get the chance to work with you and really show you how to utilize these techniques and these tools so that you can get the most out of your experience in life. All right, go to nourish123challenge.com.